Greetings and welcome to the Astronomy Picture of the Day podcast. Today's picture for April 6th of 2025 is titled Moonquakes Surprisingly Common. So what do we see here? Well, here we see an image from the Apollo moon landing of Apollo 11. And that is Buzz Aldrin standing there next to a seismometer, a way to measure quakes on the moon. So we know we get earthquakes on Earth. And the wonder was, would we get things like a moonquake that would occur? And what we found is that they're actually relatively common. And in fact, more than 60 were detected in the data that were recorded between the early and mid 1970s. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that the moon is still shaking a little bit inside. Now, earthquakes on Earth are often tied to plate movements. Our surface of our Earth is divided up into plates. And when they rub against each other, sometimes they stick. And when that releases, that can cause an earthquake. And that's what happens with the San Andreas Fault out in California in the United States. However, we can also have quakes for other reasons. And one of the thoughts here with the moon is, why are we getting quakes? Well, perhaps it's due to tidal forces from the Earth. So the Earth pulls on the moon, and yes, that keeps it in orbit. But it also has a tidal force, and the tidal force is the difference in the forces between one side of the moon and the other. And it's what we call a differential force. So we pull on one side a little bit harder than we pull on the other. And that could cause some disruption inside and cause earthquakes as well. Certainly the moon is far too small and far too cooled off to be able to have any kind of earthquakes of the type we have on Earth. But the strength of these earthquakes was also surprising, in that they would have been strong enough to move furniture in an apartment. So if there were someone on the moon in a base, one of these quakes could cause things to move and could cause damage. So it is something that has to be taken into account as we plan future landings on the moon, and in fact spending more time on the moon. So eventually, if we were putting dwellings on the moon in some kind of lunar base, we would have to be able to resist enough of an earthquake that would not cause significant damage or loss of pressurization in the settlement there. So that could be a potential problem, and is something that studies from the Apollo missions help us to now look at for future missions to the moon. So we can go back and look at that data to see how common these earthquakes are, how strong they're going to be, and we can plan what we need to be able to have future colonists on the moon, perhaps, to be able to survive the lunar quakes that we know will occur. So that was our picture of the day for April 6th of 2025. It was titled Moonquakes Surprisingly Common. We'll be back again tomorrow for the next picture, previewed to be, yes, flocculent. So we'll see what that is about tomorrow. And until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.